is Agnieszka Evanson-Wilczynska.
Well done.
Yes? Okay, I had it before, but then I'm up here and then I'm nervous that I'm going to do it wrong. So Agnieszka is a certified professional coach and a certified psychosomatic therapy practitioner. She's an extremely dynamic coach, and I can say, having experienced her coaching, she is very, very talented. She's a teacher and a leader with over 15 years experience working with corporations and individuals. She's highly energetic and continually employs out-of-the-box thinking to arrive at creative solutions. With training in psychology, psychosomatic therapy, appreciative inquiry, and neurolinguistics, coupled with her volunteer experience with United Way, the Mustard Seed, Multicultural Youth Clubs, and HRDC Employment Center, combines her education with her experience. So please help me welcome, I should say the title of her talk is Focus Your Expectations. So please help me welcome Agnieszka Evanson-Wilczynska.
You just get an applause whenever you just have
Same
your name
like
there.
yeah, works for me.
First of all, before I start, can I say something about that song? Because it's so natural for us to think that way about external children in our lives. Whoa, there's a microphone. Do I need it?
Yeah.
So it's so natural for us to think that way in external children, but what about the inner child? When is the last time we were all that vigilant about protecting and enjoying and entertaining our inner child? Creating a situation where when we take care of ourselves, we are loving ourselves as much as we would love the little children that are dependent on us. Our inner child is just as dependent on us as those children. So that's about the song. I'm just going to. I have notes because I'm attached to beautiful sentences sometimes. It could be a flaw. Okay, so what defines truth? Is there such a thing as truth? Have you guys experienced this truth? Because sometimes the truth becomes a lot more subjective than objective. We think of truth, of course, there's such a thing as the truth. But if you go with a best friend or a sister or a brother to an event and you both witness the exact same event, when you come home, you have two stories about it. There's no uniform experience. So which one is the truth? Is one of them more true than the other one? Well, of course, yours, Natasha. So there's some situations where we experience two different viewpoints or five different viewpoints or as many as there are people. You know what they say opinions are like, right? So do you think that your thoughts, your attitudes have an effect on the truth that you perceive when you're witnessing an event or a situation? Your thoughts, or even deeper, your beliefs, what you believe about the world. And we often think of our beliefs as being these unshakable truths. But really, those are just taught reactions to a situation. Someone told us this is the way to be. So if someone told us this is the way to be, we now have the freedom to tell us differently, if we so choose. If we find a belief that does not serve us, we can tell ourselves a different truth, find evidence for a different truth. Sometimes when we think there's a shift in reality, it's really not a shift in reality at all, it's a shift in perception. For example, how many of you guys notice that when you get a new car, or even when you're just thinking about getting that new car, you're starting to notice those cars everywhere. As you drive down the street, you see that car everywhere. Does that mean that the moment you thought about that car, more people bought them? And they all went down the same roads in the city as you suddenly do? Because, they weren't there before, but suddenly, they're everywhere. Does that mean that there's more of those cars? Or does it mean that suddenly as you're turning your focus into that direction, moving your thoughts in the direction of your desired car, or maybe, like in my case, the car that I've just suddenly accidentally acquired. You know, I didn't know that was a car that was on the road. I never noticed it. Suddenly I'm driving and there's people in the same car everywhere. So, was it an internal change or an external change that created this shift in perception? So, the question that I have for all of you to ponder is seeing believing or is believing seeing? Just a thought. Some people believe that we live in a purely objective reality. That is a reality that's unshakable and everybody sees the same thing. And they find all sorts of proof to prove that to themselves as they go along, because of course, the proof that you receive conforms to your inner beliefs. You can receive proof for anything. I mean, look at statistics, right? Our beliefs about reality are reflected in our actions, the places we end up, or even the direction of our gaze. Our beliefs will change the coffee shop we go to. Not because of any specific thing. It's just our feet will follow us to the place that conforms with what we believe in. And as the hero of the story I'm about to tell you discovers, perhaps. So the story I'm about to tell you now is an ancient folk story from Armenia. And as you see, I'm talking about these New Age beliefs right now, but these stories I'm illustrating my talk with are from 1,000 years ago. So are these really new beliefs? I don't know. So there was this guy in Armenia, and he worked so hard. He worked from day till night every single day. He toiled in the field every day. And yet, he looked around his village. Everybody was doing better than he was. Everybody had more money. Everybody had better food on the table than he did. All he could do is scrape some measly meal at the end of the day, and no matter how hard he worked, there was always something that prevented him from making more money than he did. He was so frustrated with his poverty. He cursed and swore at it every day. And finally, one day, as he was out in the field, he had enough. He threw his tools down and said, "That's enough. I am going to go find destiny. Because destiny will solve this for me. This life, this cannot be my destiny." So, he packed whatever lunch he could manage from his kitchen, and he went in search of destiny. And as he's walking very determinedly through the forest, he sees a wolf. And the wolf says, "Hello, brother man, where are you rushing to so much?" And the man says, "Well, I'm going in search of destiny because I have some questions for her." And the wolf says, "Oh, brother man, if you are really in search of destiny, then once you find her, could you please ask her a question for me too? Because I have a problem." And the man says, "Well, okay, tell me, what is your problem?" "Well, you see," said the wolf, "I hunt the forest from morning till night. I hunted, and I hunt everything that I can hunt. But yet at the end of the day, each day, I'm still hungry. No matter what I do, I'm still hungry at the end of the day. Could you please ask Destiny what I can do about that?" And so the man said, "Okay, I will do that." And he went on his way, and he's marching away through the forest, he's marching away. And suddenly he sees this beautiful maiden, all sad and lonely by a stream. And as he was thirsty, he approached her, and she said, Oh, where are you traveling to, traveler?" And he said, "Well, I have some questions for Destiny, so I'm off to find Destiny so she can answer my questions." She's like, "Oh, well, could you ask her a question for me too? I have a question too." He said, "Well, what's your question?" "My question is, why I'm so beautiful and I'm rich and I seem to have everything. There's nothing lacking in my life, yet every day I'm still unhappy. What can I do to make myself happy?" He said, "Well, okay, I'll ask your question, no problem." And then he went on his way and he marches away. And then he sees this tree along the river, and all the trees along the river, they're all lush and green, and this one tree's got little shriveled up leaves, and it's not doing very well. But the tree calls out to him as he marches past. He goes, "Oh, traveler, traveler, where are you rushing to so much? Sit by me. No one ever sits by me. Come, sit in my shade." He goes, "Oh, I cannot sit. I cannot sit because I'm on a very important mission. I have to go find Destiny and ask her my question." And the tree says, "Oh, if you're going to find Destiny, can I ask a question too? Can you ask my question too?" The man says, "Well, of course, what is your question?" He said, "You see all those trees along the river? They're all green and lush, and I am the only tree, despite being planted right next to the river, that is not flourishing. What is the problem?" And the man said, "Okay, I will ask her." And so he marches on, and he marches and marches and marches, and finally he comes around the corner, and there's Destiny sitting under a rock, just sitting there, relaxing, no big deal. And he says, "Oh, hi, Destiny. I have found you in order to ask you some questions." She says, "Oh, well, sit down. Let's talk about it." He says, "Well, you see, when I'm in my village, I toil from morning till night. I suffer in the heat of the sun, and yet my meals are never as good as my neighbors. They eat like kings, while I eat like a pauper. What can I do about that?" And she says, "Well, I see your problem. What I'm going to do about that for you is right now, in this moment, I present you with a gift of luck. Go forth and find your luck. And once you find this gift I have given to you, your questions will be answered. Your issues will be solved. You will be a happy man. Go find your gift of luck." He says, "Well, but I still have a couple other questions from other people." So she listens to him, and he asks the questions, and he got the answers. And all happy, he's going back home. And first, he runs into the tree. Well, not runs into the tree. He comes along by the tree. And the tree says, oh, brother, have you found the answer to my question?" He says, "Well, yes. Destiny told me exactly what the problem is with you. What it is there's a big box of gold buried underneath your trunk, and it's preventing the water and the nutrients from getting into your trunk, and that's why you don't look as well as your brothers." "Oh, man, what are you waiting for? Dig it up so that I can get some nutrients, and you can have the gold." "Oh, no, I can't do that. When I spoke to Destiny, she said I was receiving the gift of luck. And I am off to find that gift, and I cannot stop to help you right now. I have to go and find my gift of luck." And he ran off, and the tree was sad, but now it knew what its problem was. So next he runs into, he comes upon the maiden, and she says, oh, brother, have you found the answer to my question?" And he says, "Well, yes, Destiny told me what the answer to your question is. You see, you are beautiful, and you are rich, and you are young, and you have everything, but the only thing lacking from your life is companionship. What you need is a nice companion that will spend the time with you, and that way, through companionship, you will finally reach happiness." "Oh," the maiden said, "that's the perfect answer. Why don't you stay here with me and become my companion? We have everything we need here." "Oh, no," said the man, "I can't do that. I'm in search of the gift of luck that Destiny gave me, so I gotta go and find it. I can't dally with you." And he went on his way. And when he finally got to the wolf, just before he reached home, the wolf was looking for him on the path, and he finally ran up, and he said, "Brother man, have you gotten my answer from Destiny?" Oh, the man was weary by then. He sat down on a rock, wiped the sweat from his brow, and said, "Oh, Brother Wolf, there's so much I gotta tell you. This is a huge story. You see, I met this maiden, and I asked her, and she was beautiful and healthy and rich, but she didn't have something that was making her unhappy. And Destiny said that it was companionship, and that it was this tree, and it wasn't thriving. And Destiny said it was because there was a big pot of gold at the bottom of the tree. And well, I couldn't help them because I had to go find my gift of luck. And so now I'm searching for the gift of luck. Oh, said the wolf, what did Destiny say about me? Oh, Brother Wolf, Destiny said that you will be hungry for a while, but then one day there will be a very, very foolish man that comes along your way, and you'll eat him, and you'll be full for days. And the wolf thought about it, and he thought, where am I going to find a man more foolish than this one? So he ate him up and put him out of his misery.
That's awesome.
So Destiny showers us with gifts every single day. All we have to do is turn our gaze in the direction of the gift. I have this beautiful sentence I have to read to you guys exactly, because I like it so much. The belief that reality is purely objective and that our thoughts cannot influence it is only a self-fulfilling prophecy, whereby we abuse the power of thought to render ourselves powerless.
Can you read that?
Can you read that again?
Yeah, that's awesome.
The belief that reality is purely objective and that our thoughts cannot influence it is only a self-fulfilling prophecy, whereby we abuse the power of thought to render ourselves powerless.
Can you put that on Facebook for us?
Or a poster?
Yeah.
You can hang
Did you,
it?
where did you get that from?
I don't know. I kind of partly got it from some different places, and then I kind of changed it.
Oh, it's yours though. You wrote.
Well, maybe, partly.
That's cool.
It was inspired by an article I was reading,
It
but
depends on your perspective.
that's right. It's mine.
That's
That's
awesome.
a great way to think.
It is only our fear that if we embraced our full creative power, we would be overwhelmed by the responsibility for our own creation. Because if we become suddenly responsible for every single thing that we create in our lives, like your accident, for example, then how uncomfortable does that become? Oh crap, I created this reality. What did I do? How did I do that? We can no longer ask, why do I deserve this? If we are completely responsible for who we are and our actions. Creation is all there is, and with great power comes great responsibility. Sometimes it's easier to blame the things we perceive as not serving us, so the things we perceive as wrong in our life, on external factors than to take the helm and be at the helm of our life. Because it's way easier to go, oh God, how could you do this to me? Than go, oh crap. There was that, and then that, and I created my own situation. It's hard, it's not easy. So the first step to claiming a creative license is practice. Before we can experience a shift in reality, or how we perceive reality, we may choose to practice our new beliefs, to try them on. Now remember, where our old beliefs still linger in there, there's a tendency for the universe to support what we believe in most deeply. So there will be all sorts of evidence that your old beliefs are true come up. And yet, as you're trying to, well, maybe not trying, as you're stepping into the new reality, it is your responsibility to focus on the things that now serve you, and to constantly avert your gaze from the things that you want to leave in the past. That's where the practice comes in. So as we're choosing to focus on greater prosperity and abundance, so if we're trying to focus on the greater prosperity and abundance, just as the poor demised hero in our story, first, what we would want to do is to shift our gaze toward prosperity and abundance. See it as it is right now. How much prosperity and abundance are we experiencing in our life right now? Even if that prosperity is not what we ultimately want, shifting our gaze to it will assist us in stepping into that reality. We may not notice it much at first, all this abundance around us, because before we had the car, we never saw the car, right? So as we step into that reality, we start noticing it more and more and more. So whatever we're creating, we're focusing on, like training our mind to focus on it. And it doesn't matter if the abundance you're focusing on is your own or someone else's that you're enjoying. All that matters is that in your thoughts, you're stepping into abundance and not stepping into lack, because that is where it takes you the other direction. At this point, it serves us to remember to allow the negative feelings of any sort to melt away from our consciousness and move toward the positive way. And I have one more little story for you guys to illustrate how that works. Now, these are some modern psychological tools, but in this story, they're being used by a mayor in a city 700 years ago. So modern psychological tools 700 years ago. How does that work? I thought Freud invented psychology, didn't he? So this story is from my home city of Gdańsk. And apparently a long, long time ago, before Gdańsk was this huge, prosperous city as it is now, just at the moment when it was sort of moving from being a small hamlet to being a prosperous city, there was this mayor who took care of the city as well as he could. But as the city became a little more prosperous, he was noticing that the people were fighting among each other. Instead of helping each other, the competition, the two fishmongers that sold the same kind of fish, would start fighting with each other. They would start saying bad things about each other, making it uncomfortable for everybody around and spreading all this negativity in the world. And maybe he didn't phrase it that way, but that's how he felt. He felt that all this strife and infighting is not good for the city. Prosperity requires people to work together. So how can we work together if these people are always fighting? So he tried all these different methods to get people to focus on the positive and work together as well as they could. He had all the patricians put signs on their houses, little slogans about how cooperation builds prosperity and how we should look into our good traits instead of criticizing our neighbors and all this stuff. And it didn't work. And one day, as the mayor was walking through the market, he saw two patricians, some of the richest people in the city, calling each other's names right in the market. And he said, that's enough. That's enough. And he looked around the market to see the ugliest thing he could find. And it was this fish, this flounder fish. Okay, so it's flat. Both of its eyes are on the same side, but it kind of looks like it was run over by a car. And its skin is covered in these pebbly things. It's really an astoundingly ugly fish. And in this instant, it was dried. An ugly, dried fish. And he picked up the fish and he brandished it in the air and he said, look, the next person that I see that is bad-mouthing their neighbor, that is saying bad things about another merchant, that is saying anything negative about anybody, I will hang this flounder on their neck, and it will dangle there for a week. Now, they didn't really believe him. Because they thought, you know, I'm one of the richest people in this city. The mayor cannot hang a flounder on my neck. That would look silly at the city council, I mean, seriously. So they continued doing it. But as this lawyer and this accountant and this patrician and all of these influential people began appearing on the streets with the flounder around their neck, oh, the citizens realized that this was no idle threat. So, as time went on, this flounder fish became a symbol of cooperation, a symbol of agreement, a symbol of working together. And now, well, not now, say a couple hundred years later, they started painting the flounder fish on their houses to remind each other about how working together brings cooperation, about how positive focus brings prosperity. And indeed, Gdańsk was one of the most prosperous cities in Europe for hundreds of years. It was a center of trade. But nobody was angry, not even at the Germans when the First World War started. So that's how long the effect was. We didn't even have an issue with the people who were brothers to the ones that invaded us. So if you can take that one lesson from this old mayor of Gdańsk, and you can bring yourself a reminder. I mean, it doesn't have to be a dried fish around your neck, honestly. But what if it's a string around your wrist? What if it's a special ring that you buy that continually focuses your thoughts toward what you're working on? Creates a reminder. Psychologically, what happens in your brain at that point, your brain starts creating new neural pathways. But a new neural pathway, like anybody who's gone to school knows, it only lasts a few days. You can learn a new thing and you can be all over it and you can even do a presentation on it, but the next day it's gone. The neural pathways will only remain if there's a constant reminder. And that's what the flounderfish all over the city did for the citizens of Gdańsk. It psychologically reprogrammed their brain to create peace and cooperation because they continually saw the reminders of it. And the neural pathway was continually exercised. So, exercise your brain, create your reality, and take responsibility for your life.